We are absolutely thrilled to have NEA Vice President Becky Pringle with us. She's a middle school science teacher from Pennsylvania with 31 years of classroom experience. She's a recipient of the Black Women's Roundtable Education and Innovation Social Justice Leadership Award from the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, Woman Power Award from the National Action Network, and was named Community Woman of the Year by the American Association of University Women. Not only that, she likes purple, and one of the great things we have in common are our grandchildren. So whenever Becky and I get together, we have to look at the latest pictures of our grandkids. That is Becky's grandson. Please give a warm welcome to Becky Pringle.
It was going to be tough speaking after Etta, but my grandbaby, he just brings me to my knees. What can I tell you? Is he the cutest thing you've ever seen? Oh, and he just learned how to say his whole name. So now he says, when you ask him, what's your name? Carter Pringle. He's adorable. MSEA, I am so honored to bring you greetings on behalf of the 3 million members of the largest labor union in this country, the National Education Association. Yay! And the crowd goes wild, as you should. As always, I have to take my first few minutes spending time applauding the steadfast and courageous leadership of the Maryland State Education Association. Your president, Betty, who is joined by your vice president, Cheryl, and your secretary treasurer, Bill, along with your executive director and a buddy of mine, David, and my fellow NEA board members, Mavis and Gary and Michael and Doug. At such a challenging and pivotal time in our nation's history, you have assembled quite a team of dedicated and determined leaders that represent you, not only here in Maryland, but throughout this country. And so I must ask you to give them a round of applause for the incredible work they do for you and for all of us. I travel a lot, so I do tend to get my days mixed up, but I'm pretty sure this is not Sunday. It's not. But I don't really care. I'm going to take a text anyway. And my text comes from an old Negro spiritual. I don't feel no ways tired of all the civil rights for which this world has fought and died for 5,000 years. The right to learn is the most fundamental. The freedom to learn has been bought by bitter sacrifice. So whatever you might think about the curtailment of other civil rights, you must fight to the last ditch to keep open the right to learn. Those powerful words by W.E.B. Du Bois capture the magnitude of the responsibility we took on when we decided to become educators. When I stepped into my first classroom over 30 years ago with my wide-eyed enthusiasm and a sense of hope and promise, I didn't have a clue that public education would soon become a notion at risk. Fast forward, we are now in the fight of our lives to save that very institution that was designed to be the great equalizer, that engine of opportunity in a democratic society. Here we are, in a climate of emboldened politicians peddling privatization and a whole lot of blame. Here we are with increasing student needs, diminishing resources. But here we are standing strong and united and rising up and saying enough. Enough of politicians with their cozy billionaire buddies using the recession to voucherize and privatize our schools, fatten their pockets, and strip the working class of its rights and its vote. Enough of using taxpayer dollars on market-driven reforms that are doing nothing but fueling inequities. Enough of starving our schools and denying our students the resources they need so that every single one of them can succeed. Enough. You know, someone once described a leader as a person who cares more than others think is wise, who risks more than others think is prudent, who dreams more than others think is practical, and who expects more than others think is possible. MSEA, that's the kind of strong and brave leadership that is now required of you. The National Education Association is in the midst of a great storm that is drastically changing the lives of our members and altering the course of public education and collective action in this nation. You know, it's not a coincidence that the attacks on educators and our schools have been happening all over this country. And though Maryland has fared pretty well, make no mistake, with just one election, that could change in an instant. Because it's clear that these assaults are part of a concentrated effort to break us, to silence the voice of the middle class. What is also clear is that we are in a battle for economic justice at a time when our nation's economy has been dangerously tilted toward the interests of the wealthy. Betty, it's fitting that the theme of your delegate assembly this year is our profession, our association, our voice. That sentiment is spreading throughout this country. From coast to coast, we are aspiring to lead our professions through innovation and collaboration and excellence. We stand at a crossroads of history. We must remember that we have a deep well of courage and are a powerful force for change. We must continue to harness that power to shape a brighter future for our members and for our students. Now, that aspirational vision requires that as leaders you help our members understand that there is not one single decision involving our schools and classrooms that is not ultimately made by politicians. We must help them understand that. It takes our professional and moral work to make sure that every single one of our members is politically active. Otherwise, this barrage of meaningless mandates and toxic tests and higher stakes and disrespect and worker trashing and union bashing and plain stupidity will most assuredly continue. At the RA a couple of years ago, I very passionately and a little emotionally said I didn't ever want to stand before the delegates and ask them to make the kind of tough decisions they had to make because of our devastating membership losses. I ended my remarks by repeating the word organize, organize, organize. I think I said it 7,229 times. And I meant it. And that's exactly what you got to work doing. That's why Maryland is just one of a handful of our states who have actually experienced an increase in membership and in activism. Give yourselves a hand. Just look at Frederick County, where our empowered educators are partnering around education funding. Where you at, Frederick? And whose membership has grown to 90%. And Montgomery County, where are you? You've been out front on our collaborative, student-centered, union-led work and have demonstrated the understanding of the importance of political action all the way from the school board to the White House, all over Maryland. You continue to educate and organize and agitate and lead. You know that it's about building this culture of organizing where people believe that they can help move from a problem to a solution, to turn outrage into action, to create a movement all over this country that inspires us to dream more and to learn more and to become more and to do more. And if we do, we will emerge stronger, more powerful, and more focused on our incredible mission to advocate for education professionals. And not only unite our members, but this entire nation to fulfill the promise of public education for every single student. Kim Oliver, Maryland's own 2000 National Teacher of the Year, posed to us this powerful question: are you worthy of your students? Are you worthy of your students? As she went on to describe the powerful, precious, beautiful lives that we had in our hands, we understood the urgency and the passion with which she asked us, are you worthy of your students? In the asking, she wanted us all to challenge ourselves to do more, professionally, personally, ethically. She challenged us to have those courageous conversations about the role we can and must play in our schools and our communities. We cannot say we are worthy of our students as long as inequity and fear, discrimination, and injustice exists in this society. We cannot answer Kim's question, yes, as long as one child feels they are not valued and respected for who they are. If you watched the Academy Awards last year, you heard the acceptance speech of Lupita Nyong'o after she won the Best Supporting Actress award for her role in 12 Years a Slave. Lupita touched our hearts with her emotional words. When I look down at this golden statue, she said, may it remind me and every little child, no matter where they come from, their dreams matter. Not only did her words reflect the emotion of her own personal journey, but they captured the essence of the emotional true story of Solomon Northrop, a musician who was kidnapped and sold into slavery. His story powerfully and painfully depicts disappointment and resiliency, cruelty and compassion, struggle and hope. As so many of our students and their families wrestle with a growing income inequality that is spreading throughout America, we must remind them every day that their dreams are valid, that we see them, that they matter. I've had the incredible opportunity to get to meet many of our members throughout this association, and this is what I know. You lead with integrity. You advocate unabashedly. You work unceasingly. You inspire with action. You are passionate about your professions and your colleagues and our students. You care about this country and your neighbors and each other. That's why we must not only do all we can to convince and cajole and coerce our families and our friends, our neighbors and acquaintances, anyone who likes us or loves us or intends to keep living with us, not only to vote, But we must work unrelentingly for pro-worker, pro-public education candidates here in Maryland, up and down the ballot, like our existence is at stake, because it is. And if you have any politically challenged friends out there, just share with them these thoughts from Plato. Anyone who thinks they are too good or too smart to get involved in politics will be ruled by those who are neither good nor smart. All over this country, concerned citizens like you are heeding Dr. King's warning that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Our children's future, it matters. MSEA, will we be silent? Will we be silent? Securing the economic rights of all Americans matters. Will we be silent? Making sure Anthony Brown is the next governor of the state of Maryland matters. Will we be silent? You just heard from your fabulous lieutenant governor, so you know he gets it. You know he values our voice and he respects us as professionals. You know he will continue to fight for early childhood at the front end and affordable college on the other side. He cares about our kids and he cares about us. That's why the NEA is putting full support behind the MSEA. We know what's at stake. We're working with you to change Maryland's law, to allow our brothers and sisters who work in the state's community college system to collectively bargain. Yes, if we elect Anthony Brown, he'll work with us to make that happen. If we don't, we'll be spending lots of time and a whole lot of money beaten back, crazy and stupid. You know, like Hogan's anti-public education voucher schemes and corporate tax cut plans. And who could be against universal pre-K? Who? Yeah, that's who. So no pressure, MSEA, no pressure. But the impact of this gubernatorial election has ramifications far beyond the borders of Maryland. I'm just saying. So we will not be silent. We will stand up and we will not rest. We will stand together and they won't know what to do with us. We'll be marching and rallying, changing hearts and minds. We will stand together and they won't know what to make of us. We'll unite our members and others and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and they will falter. We will stand together and they won't be able to defeat us. It is not the light we need, but the fire. It is not the gentle shower, but the thunder. We need the storm. We need the whirlwind. We need the earthquake. Those fiery words by Frederick Douglass captures the essence of the effort we must make in these last 18 days. So my question to you is one I posed to you before, so I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be the same. What are you prepared to do? Now, Betty, I've been watching MSEA activists, and this is what I've learned. You testified on over 109 bills. You knocked on 13,000 doors and made 33,000 phone calls. Your Apple ballot has recorded over 60,000 hits. And of the 200, this is amazing stuff. Of the 275 educator-recommended candidates, both Democrat and Republican, your candidates won 86% of the time. We can get this done. So with all of this activism, I know I'm standing in front of a tenacious crowd. So when I say, what are you prepared to do? You will say, Becky, we will do whatever it takes. So let me hear from you, MSEA. What are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do to send a message that anyone who's thinking about running for office in this state, they got to come through MSEA? What are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do to let folks know that if you stand with us, we will stand with you? What are you prepared to do, Maryland? We, the members of the National Education Association of these United States, are the voice of education professionals. Our work is fundamental to this nation, and we accept the profound trust that has been placed in us. If we live up to that powerful preamble to our NEA mission, we will be worthy of our students. We will be worthy of our students. I know we're all asking a lot of you. You work full-time jobs every day, and here you are on this beautiful weekend by the ocean, I must say. But you're sitting in here learning and networking and working together. So I know I'm asking a lot. So I leave you, as I often do, with just 3 words. You keep plugging away, Maryland. You keep plugging away. Those are the words from a poem I had to recite when I was a young black child growing up in North Philly. You see, it was tradition in our small black Baptist church that the children of the church always had to say pieces. Easter pieces, Christmas pieces, always with the pieces. Can I get a witness? Well, I come from a large family, 8 sisters and 4 brothers my father had. Every one of my aunts thought they were my mother. So every time they came into my house, they said, Becky Sue, get up on the landing and say your piece. Well, by the time the day came for me to say my piece, I was sick of it. They called me up to the front of the church, and much to the congregation's surprise and my family's horror, my knees began to buckle, and I bolted from the church. Well, my father came out after me. And I can see by looking in this crowd, some of you will understand when I tell you that he's from the spare the rod, spoil the child generation. Do you know what I mean? So when I looked behind me and saw him there, I was more than a little bit afraid. But noticing my obvious dejection, he put his arms around me and he said, Rebecca. That's what he called me when he was really mad or very serious. He said, Rebecca, look up at the sky. The sun is still shining, and it will rise again tomorrow. With those encouraging words, I went back into the church, and I said my piece. The beginning words of which I remember to this day. When rising storms to quell, when opposing waters swell, keep a plugging away. If the hills are high before and the paths are hard to climb, keep plugging away. So those are my words to you today, Maryland. You keep plugging away. When those around you disrespect your profession and question your activism, you keep plugging away. When all of society's ills and precious few of its resources are laid at your schoolhouse door, you keep plugging away because too much is at stake. Too much is at stake. Our kids, this country is depending on us. That's why I know that old Negro spiritual perfectly captures your resolve. I don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I started from. MSEA, lift up your heads. Lift up your heads. We will not give up. Lift up each other. We will not give in. We will lift up our students, and we will not waver. I don't feel no ways tired, MSEA. Do you feel tired? Do you feel tired? We're going to get this done. You keep plugging away. Thank you so much for everything you do each and every day.